In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to Raw and Order, the wrestling booking unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet that is MDK all effing day. I mean, you can clearly look at me and see that ain't true. I am your host, Detective Mark Sparks, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you? Tried to take my job from me, and
I think we both clicked me in.
We sure did. What's going on, man?
Well, a couple of things about how my night went. I watched the very best very best pay-per-view you can watch that starts with a match with PCO and ends with a match with Nick Gage. Now, that doesn't sound like that would be a good pay-per-view. But it was.
It was pretty fucking good.
Yeah. I'm just saying, when you started with PCO and you ended with Nick Gage, you're not in love with where you're at. But anyway, and this week I hear that somebody wanted to get their ass rolled by Warhorse for stealing his fucking line and putting it on another podcast, the cheating whores that they are. So let's bring him up.
What's going on, JLB, the cheating whore?
It goes good. It goes good. Can't complain. I saw bits and pieces of GCW's event as well. I took a Claritin and a Reactin rather, and it messed me up a bit. So I saw bits and pieces, but from what I saw, it was pretty decent. So I'm excited to see it in full, since you guys are saying it was pretty exciting. I'm shocked to hear a Jeff Jarrett match was exciting, but you know,
no, that one there.
I can't speak for the Jeff Jarrett match. I actually skipped it.
Yeah, here's two things. A, nothing against Effie, but anytime you introduce Jeff Jarrett into a match, I go. And B, it was really fucking short.
Oh, okay.
The promos were long though. Holy shit!
Yeah, the promos before it were long, and there were actually some really good packages before it. But the actual match itself was pretty short. And thankfully so, because I mean it was Jeff Jarrett. I don't know why they gave him.
Great.
Which one?
The brass ring match.
Yes, I was going to say one of the things to talk about, at least on that, is we can kind of give AEW a little bit of crap right now for this, because they had to grab the brass ring match a little over a year ago or so, and we all gave them crap for the comically large, looked like a hemorrhoid donut brass ring that had to be grabbed. And it wasn't that the match that Leo Rush started in? I can't remember for certain. Anyways, regardless.
No, Leo Rush wasn't, when you're talking about AEW?
In AEW, yeah.
Leo Rush wasn't even there.
For this match, because it was a ladder match and he debuted in a ladder match. But it might not have been the right one. I'm not entirely certain.
Yeah, definitely not, because Leo Rush wasn't even in AEW, and Leo Rush technically wasn't in this one either. So
no, he wasn't in this one. But the thing I was saying is the comically large brass ring, and this here had a lot more appropriate brass ring, and it actually looked like a brass ring instead of fucking like an inflatable donut.
Well, it was just too big. I feel like AEW's was too big, whereas this one was like decent sized and wasn't over exaggerated either. So, but that was fun. And minus the botches, there was a few botches that was kind of like okay, but I get it. It's an indie fed and stuff happens, but at the same time, if you're gonna promote it to the world and get people to pay for it at $24.99. Like the ladder, the whole one with the ladder where you stack the guy on top of the chair and then put a ladder over him going up that ladder and then like just flobbing off was a bit much. Like I was like,
yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean, if you saw the alternate camera angle from a move, just a little bit before then, he took a huge accidental bump. Like it was a botch. Just I think that is bell rung.
Okay, yeah, because he definitely seemed already still dazed. Definitely still seemed dazed. So, what's wrong?
I don't know.
And I think that's probably what happened there.
All I'm gonna say is the electric chair with PCO jumping off the top rope with a ladder. Gold.
PCO jumping off the top rope PCO's always entertaining. Some people think he moves really slow. I mean, he's fucking 60 almost, and the way he's treated his body, he has a right to move a little slow. But
he's 60. He's bigger. I'm not gonna say in poor shape for 60 because he's in really great shape. And he moves better than a lot of other bigger guys.
But this thing was...
They just make him different in Montreal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they're French Quebec,
Yes.
Man takes care of himself. So, can't... He's probably one of the only guys, technically. Rougeau couldn't do what PCO does. So. Oh, maybe he could. I don't know. Rougeau's hasn't done anything in a hot minute. So, but yeah, no, fun pay-per-view.
And I looked it up. The person that debuted at the AEW brass ring was Ethan Page. I knew there was a debut at it. I just couldn't remember who it was, but it was Ethan Page.
Definitely wasn't Leo Rush. No, I know it wasn't Leo Rush. Leo Rush wasn't even a thing yet.
He joined just a few months later because it was at Revolution, and he joined it was May, and he joined in July, I believe, and then quit and retired,
right,
and then came back, and then is now leaving again.
Yep.
So.
On February 14th, you can start booking him again. So,
yeah. I mean, in fairness, he's not leaving because he's fired, and he's not leaving because he retired again. He's leaving because Tony Khan's decided not to extend his contract. And frankly, I don't really blame him. And it comes out of this. It's not that I don't like Leo Rush. The match tonight proved that Leo Rush can fucking go. Is that I don't know if Leo Rush's attitude was a good fit for AEW.
No, that's it. He kind of just does whatever he wants. That comment, although granted, Soul's comment was a bit misguided, but so was Tony Khan's. And then Leo Rush had nothing to do with it either. So, I get it. He's a black wrestler at that company. But at the end of the day, unless you want to leave the company, I wouldn't open your mouth because guess what? Swole wasn't there anymore. So Swole is going to say what Swole is going to say because she doesn't care. She's not there anymore, right?
And we talked about the Swole thing. There's issues with the Swole thing that I think we've talked about ad nauseum. And so, but in the end, it's he spoke up and if he had his right to say whatever he wants, but in the end it just didn't fit. Even before that, he really didn't seem to fit in with AEW. Like from reports I have, he wasn't like hanging out with the locker room backstage and being one of the team there. He would just show up, he'd do his shit, and he'd go. And that's fine, but AEW kind of prides itself as being basically a family. And as a family, you've got to, get along, and you've got to kind of hang out with each other and do your thing. But anyways, the match itself. Leo Rush was originally supposed to be part of the Grab the Brass Ring ladder match and was a late scratch. We didn't know why. They didn't announce why until later we found out why. So the ladder match was supposed to be PCO versus Alex Colon versus Tony Deppen versus Leo Rush versus Jimmy Lloyd versus Jordan Oliver. And in the end, there was a substitution and then a seventh man added to the match. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm not super familiar with GCW usuals. This is the first GCW pay-per-view I've taken the time to really sit and watch live, right? So I don't know the names of the two other people that were put in there. But we were talking, well, I don't know why Leo Rush wasn't on it. Mm-hmm. And then later, in the match that was supposed to be Blake Christian versus Jonathan Gresham for the Ring of Honor World title, it was announced Jonathan Gresham couldn't be there. They didn't say why. There's lots of speculation going online as to why, whether it was COVID or an injury or whatever. We don't know, right? But he wasn't there, and so who's going to be his surprise replacement? Surprise, it was Leo Rush. And I got to be honest with you, it might have been a better fit for Blake Christian than Jonathan Gresham.
I don't know if a better match.
I think a better fit style-wise. Having watched Jonathan Gresham and everything, Leo Rush versus Blake Christian, their styles meshed really, really well. Really well. And I think this showed off Blake Christian better. Now, Blake Christian, if you don't know, was in NXT for a hot minute.
Literally, a hot minute.
Yeah, he had 4 televised matches. 4.
On and gone. Yep.
I think he was actually there in like the Performance Center and stuff for like a year or two. But when he got fired, he'd wrestled 4 entire matches. What was his name in NXT? Trey Baxter was his name in NXT. And he had 4 matches in the breakout tournament last year. You remember when they had that, and in the end, I can't even remember who won, but I think he's gone now too. So he never really got a chance to show what he could do on NXT, and it was nice to see him given a chance to shine here, and he shined really well. It was a really good match.
There was a moment where he was doing, and I actually messaged you guys about it, where I was watching it considerably behind Smarks, so I had to skip quite a bit of stuff, but I just caught a part of it where he did a kip up, and during the kip up, while he's getting up, he did an enziguri to Leo Rush that caused Leo Rush to be able to do a flip. Now, I'm not saying Leo Rush couldn't just do the flip on his own, but hit the enziguri and then landed still the kip up on his feet. So it was a spinning kip up enziguri. It was fucking incredible. It should be a finish move.
Carmelo Hayes was the winner, and he actually is still with NXT, but he beat Odyssey Jones, and I don't know if Odyssey Jones is still with NXT.
I think he is.
But yeah, Trey Baxter beat Joe Gacy and then lost to Odyssey Jones. So 2 of his matches were the breakout tournament there. Anyways, but this was a lot better of a show off of what Trey Baxter, a.k.a. could do, Blake Christian could do, right? And I don't know if he would have gotten quite the same match out of Jonathan Gresham. And this isn't a knock against Jonathan Gresham.
No.
But I know
he doesn't work at that pace.
He doesn't work at that pace. He's a technical wrestler. He's a stretcher. And I don't think it would have shown off Blake Christian as well. So I think this was a better match for Blake Christian to show off stuff. But so pre-show, we had a 6-way scramble that got to show off Grim Reaper, who's ECW / GCW original sort of guy. Alex Zane, who was pretty impressive, Dante Leon, Nick Wayne, Jack Cartwheel, who was kind of funny, and Ninja Mac. And then prior to that, there was a pre-show battle royal, and I don't even have the list of the participants because it's not even been updated on Cage Match yet. So I'll have to see if I can find it somewhere else. But it was they were both fun matches. I think I would have probably enjoyed them more if I was more familiar with GCW just in general. But in the end, that's what we're going to get. We're going to get more familiar with GCW over the... Because I really think GCW is going to be around for a while. We're going to see them for a while.
If this is 1996, 95, and AEW is the obvious WCW and WWE is still the obvious WWE, GCW is the obvious ECW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
ECW
had better camera work.
Well, and I feel like Impact is still the number 3 brand.
I take offense to that. If you go back and watch some of the early ECW ones, the 1994, 95 ECW ones, their camera work was shit. And so I do not think you are correct there. But that was part of their whole aesthetic with ECW, is they were down and dirty and their camera work was handheld.
No,
and it wasn't
but
all
after Barely
professional.
Legal, not true, because after the first pay-per-view, they really upped their camera work game, though. Because they were still down and dirty, they were still hardcore, they were still whatever. They only had a few cameras, but the cameras that they did have worked. I'm not a fan of how GCW... I love the fact that they have different cameras, but it's still a bit... Even some of their like high aimed cameras and whatever, and I get it, they're starting and whatever, but it's just a personal preference for me. I really can't get into the matches.
I'm still saying that I take issue with that. I do not think their camera work, ECW camera work, was better than this. I'm not saying this was great. I'm saying I think we look back at ECW with rose-colored glasses, and we like to think it was all sunshine and roses back then. And if you go back and you watch those tapes, they're really, especially early ECW, they're really rough with their camera work.
But they're more
better.
zoomed into the wrestling. I don't know.
They got better, but you also got to remember, it also was in standard definition at the time, right? So that plays into it. You can't compare camera work from 1994 to now because of just the nature of the camera. What we hold in the palm of our hand now was this big, was huge back then, because it was all on tape and there wasn't digital, and it was all in standard definition and wires everywhere. And so there were a lot of changes there, but I still, like I say, I think people like to give ECW a lot of a pass for things that were definitely issues with ECW back in the day. But again, ECW didn't get to where they were on camera work. No one cared about the camera work on ECW. What they cared about on ECW was the ring work and the package that it was. We can't hear you, D.A. Fabe, just so you know.
Nope, can't hear you.
That's because I was choking to death and I forgot. But the violence is what they liked.
Violence, that's the word, yes. They came to it because it was extreme. And so, now, like I said, I'm not saying the camera work was great with this. My issue is with us putting the ECW camera work up on a pedestal. In the day, it was still pretty shitty. But this one, there were a lot of things that I wasn't exactly impressed with. Not the camera work. The camera work I was fine with, but the presentation, right? They basically had no lower thirds. So when entrance, especially during the pre-show, the kickoff battle royal and the kickoff scramble, you could barely hear the ring announcer say the person's name. And then they come to the ring and there's no lower third telling you their name. So I didn't know who was who 9 times out of 10. Because I couldn't even hear it, you know? And needless to say, I also had a 3-year-old running around asking me questions, everything, so that played into it as well. But if they were a little bit more invested in like things like lower thirds and stuff like that, or some sort of presentation for they had a screen behind the entrance, so some sort of presentation for that with a name on it. I mean, heck,
I feel like they've had names before, though.
They might have, so it might have been a choice for this, but it was a bad choice. I mean, Zello Pro, when they played in Podunk, Kearney, Nebraska, had graphics for. They didn't have a screen behind, but they had the screen up above that's from the hockey arena that they were in, and they had graphics on that for each of the wrestlers as they came in. So, if Zello Pro can do it in bumfuck Kearney, Nebraska, GCW can do it in Hammerstein.
Right.
Bums are fucked there too.
Bums are fucked there. You do not. If you are a bum, don't go to Kearney, Nebraska, unless you want to get fucked.
Unless you want to get fucked.
I mean, then you go there. Yeah. You know, that's where you go.
But you don't get to choose the type of fucking.
No, you don't. You got to be open for anything.
Bum fuck place. Yeah.
This could be a bum fuck in more ways than one. And if that's your thing, great. If it's not your thing, maybe go someplace that's like consensual. You know, I do have issues with this pay-per-view overall. I know JLB didn't watch all of it and everything. One of the things I had an issue with is the main event being the Briscoe brothers versus Matt Tremont and Nick Gage. And here's why I have this. And this is going to probably be a hot take. Some people might not like it. If WCW had the tag team champions come out and have an open challenge, and then it was a thrown together tag team of two random WWE superstars, the internet wrestling community would light them the fuck up over that. They would say, why are they just throwing these two people together? That's not a tag team. I want to see an established tag team. And then if they had them win, it would be all over Twitter.
And then they have them win on what looks to be a fast count.
What might have been a fast count.
Relatively non-high impact set of moves.
Mm-hmm. All of this stuff. It would have been absolutely lit up. But the fact that it was Nick Gage and Matt Tremont, who are GCW top guys, everyone seems to be fine with it. And that's probably my biggest complaint with that. Because I'm like, yeah, I get it. The only thing I can think of is that the Briscoe brothers, being free agents, are headed somewhere else, and they want to take the titles off them. But I still think there would have been a better way to have done that, especially considering they had a 2-month-long build teasing it being FTR potentially coming. You know, and then they just throw together this tag team of two people.
Well, and I think some of that stems from not knowing if it's going to be Nick Gage or not, because he was down with an injury for a while. And but okay, Donald, fucking, I'm so proud of you for doing that. You didn't even notice. Fuck. Anyway, I don't know. I have a tag team waiting in the wings. I would agree, but you know, have some vignettes where you know Nick Gage is getting checked on by his friend or something, you know, and at least then you're building them being a team.
That's my point. Is
2 months is enough time to make them seem like, oh, these two have been close friends forever.
Mm-hmm. Even if you don't make them close friends, you make them longtime rivals, but oh, you know, we're going to put things aside.
Each other.
You know, we respect and understand each other, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend or something. I don't know. You know, or make a whole thing with the Briscoes being like, you know, if we don't get a good challenger, we're going to take these and we're going to go somewhere else with your tag team titles. And Nick Gage and Matt Tremont can be like, we can't let them leave with our titles. But instead, it's just 2 months of, is it going to be FTR? Is it going to be FTR? And then suddenly, no, it's Nick Gage and Matt Tremont. And I mean, they're fine. The match was fine. It ended in what I almost wonder if they weren't trying to make it look like a screw job, but they didn't. Because like you said, it was a sort of fast count. After a not particularly impactful move. that made you think maybe it wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
happen this
It
way
looked
or
like
something?
it was supposed to be a screw job, but it wasn't.
But then they didn't have any like storyline play out. They didn't have the Briscoes throw a fit on the side and be like, no, and they, that's if they didn't have the Briscoes spit at the CEO of GCW or whatever. I mean, there are a lot of things they could have done with it to play off if they wanted it to be a screw job. They could have even had just the referee say that looked like it might have been a fast count, but they didn't.
You mean the commentators?
Yeah, the commentators. Yeah, excuse me, commentators. But they didn't. They just were like,
Also, the awkwardly high amount of referee help in setting up.
Yeah, there were quite a few times where, like during the Ruby Soho match, the referee like literally helped Ruby set up a table at one time, or the door at
the
one
doors
time.
on the chairs. Yep.
Doors on the chairs, and then during that main event, they were setting up they had a door set up, and no, it wasn't the main event. It was the Moxley match. They had one set up, and then they started to go to the top rope, and they kicked it out of the way, and the ref stepped in and pushed it
Did
back.
I miss the Moxley match?
It was right before the.
Yeah, you missed it. It was right before the main event.
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
You didn't miss much.
It was a decent match, but I mean, it was Moxley versus Homicide, and so Homicide. Not to take anything away from him, but he's not exactly a spring chicken anymore. And Moxley is fresh back and fresh legs, and they weren't gonna have Moxley lose. That's for certain.
No, I know. Just the hardcoreness was stupid, and then he just comes in so quick and does his thing and bounces. Like it was not like. It wasn't what do you call it? It wasn't a squash per se, but it's just I don't know. I don't think I'm into this whole. I get GCW is all part of that hardcoreness, but when you have hardcoreness that has wrestling in it, it's cooler rather than just a Nick Gage bonanza. Moxley's kind of going that route when he does his GCW stuff. Just give me a little bit more wrestling, man. It's just. It was boring.
I thought there was way too much interference in the Cardona match. I understood it. And I could follow the story.
Yeah.
But it was too much.
Yeah, it ended up being a big kind of cluster there, you had Marco appeared, Brian Myers appeared.
Marco Stunt?
Marco Stunt, yep.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yep, he appeared. Helped out.
Brian Myers was there.
Myers appeared.
The big dude, I can't remember his name.
Hornswoggle, yeah.
Or Swoggle, I should say.
Yeah, it was a big cluster towards the end. So, and I don't know. Some of it was fun. I think the cluster at the end kind of took away from some of the impactful moments earlier. Specifically, the moment that I enjoyed was Chelsea Green turning on Matt Cardona and kicking him in the nuts, and Joey Janella, because that's part of the feud buildup. Was Joey Janella was tweeting out pictures he took with Chelsea Green, and Matt Cardona was like, "Those are photoshopped," whatever, and so this back and forth, and so when Chelsea Green kicks Matt Cardona in the nuts, and Joey Janela starts celebrating and goes to go up to the top rope, and then Chelsea Green turns on Joey Janela, and Matt Cardona pulls the cup out from his.
I was astonished that wasn't used as a weapon.
That was a fun thing that I thought could have been enough of a schmoz thing for the finish to be still believable. But then you had Swoggle, and you had I can't even remember who all was involved.
Well, X-Pac came out, and
X-Pac, fucking
Vincent.
That's why you said Sean Waltman. I was like, when did? Okay, because I saw bits and parts of that match. I guess I missed X-Pac.
Yes, X-Pac came out at the end to try to save Joey Janela, and it was
Brian Myers.
Brian Myers, and I think there was a little bit too much in that, but
the whole Vincent, oh my God, it's Vince, and then you have the music play, and I'm like, oh, this is stupid. Like, you obviously know Vince is not gonna be there. Like, why even make that a thing? It was stupid.
It was a joke they had for whatever. But but I'm just thinking here, like Second Gear Crew, which was Mance Warner and Matthew Justice, they wrestled earlier in the night. They were the team that the Briscoes defeated for the belts back in October. So wouldn't it have made sense for them to be the ones to challenge to get it back
That's it.
instead of throw together a team of...
Because you have to have Gage there. You know, Gage is back. He's ready. He's the GCW poster boy. He has to be in the Hammerstein Ballroom and all that. So
you
it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's a GCW, man. It's not a, you know.
But my point is, in the end, if GCW wants to truly compete, these are some things that they're going to need to. Because I'm saying this now. If WWE did this, the same thing, Twitter would be just absolutely fuming, just exploding with people saying, "I can't believe, WWE just threw together a tag team and had them beat their tag team champions,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah."
And they've done it. And
We've blown up about it. And the fact of the matter is, I can fire up Twitter right now, and I can guarantee you I'm not going to see anyone complaining right now about that.
Because it's a GCW event. It's not a company that has given you such legendary superstars like Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Austin, and so on. We give WWE and AEW shit because they're on another level. They actually have writers and so on, and a production team, and this and that. That's why
I'm saying this. This is all fun to say. Oh, this is why. But in the end, it's a level playing field. If we're giving WWE shit for this, we have to be on the same playing field for other ones, because I didn't like it. I liked watching Nick Gage. I like watching the Briscoes. There's ways you could have made this better. They had 2 months of teasing online between the Briscoes and FTR that they could have had between the Briscoes and Nick Gage. Briscoes saying, "Nick Gage, you get yourself a partner and come to the Hammerstein," or whatever. But they wasted it on this FTR thing, and then they just throw together a tag team. And in the end, if AEW did that, if AEW had the tag team champions being, the Lucha Brothers or whoever, and then just threw together, and they're like, "Oh, here's Ricky Starks, and here's Sammy Guevara. They're gonna team up, they're pillars or whatever, and win the belts on their first time out," we'd give them crap for it too. These are the things. If you are wanting to be next level, if you're wanting to appeal to more and more fans, these are things that you're going to have to do. But we also cannot just softball them and say, "Well, they're just GCW, so we'll let them do it." We have to hold them to standards. And so that's why I say it might be an unpopular opinion. I'll take it. Get in the comments. That's fine.
The thing I will say, and I think the thing that makes it right, and this is the only thing that makes it right, if you're not going to keep Briscoes around, if they're obviously shopping a contract right now, they can go lots of places that even if they don't fit well, they'll still fit well because they're that good. If you're going to draw eyes, which is exactly what Matt Cardona does, which is exactly even what Jeff Jarrett does, fucking stupid, which is exactly why you have John Moxley show up, which is why you put Leo Rush against Brian Christian. All of those things, if you're going to have people who bring eyes on it, and thus you don't have the hardcore championship for Nick Gage, you don't have the world championship for Nick Gage, you don't have the mid-card championship for Nick Gage. Now you have to find something to put on your guy, who is the equivalent of Sandman in ECW, or Sabu in ECW. He's a guy that doesn't really work that well anywhere else.
Right.
Sandman and Sabu did not work well anywhere else other than a hardcore organization.
Sabu was okay in Impact.
RVD did great
Mhm.
in other places. Um, uh, Tommy Dreamer did great in other places. Nick Gage is the face of the organization that isn't going to pull the eyes in like the others do. And so having a belt on him is not a bad move, but the build was done wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's my thing. Is it's all about the build, and that's what I'm basically saying is if WWE did the exact same thing, where it's last of them, it's the New Day as tag team champions, and they issue a open challenge, and then it's suddenly fucking John Cena and The Rock come out and tag team and beat the New Day in
Well, that's not a good example.
suspicious fashion. No, it's 100% because both of those
Not if you're
people.
picking John Cena and The Rock.
No, it is because the internet wrestling community loves to hate John Cena. Number one. Number two, John Cena is the face of WWE just like Nick Gage is the face of GCW. Right? And so, but here's the deal. Is in the end, the internet wrestling community would be yelling at, I can't believe they brought these people in and tagged them up just to beat the New Day, a established tag team, in questionable fashion, and take the tag belts off them, right? I would be yelling about that, and I actually like John Cena. I actually think John Cena gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve, but I would be angry at that because we've said it before. I've never liked the just random people put together last minute and go win the tag belts. Never have. If
Wait,
you want,
you didn't like when John Cena and The Miz won the tag titles?
sure didn't.
How about, but Stone Cold and Triple H, they held all the gold for like 4 months.
Yeah, still didn't like it. Not throwing together. Now here's the deal: they've done it before. They take two superstars, they put them together, but they have them together, wrestle a few matches, build up a storyline, and then they do it like the Mega Powers or whatever. There's a storyline going with it. That's fine. You could have built a storyline with this that would have, Nick Gage appearing in the main event would have popped the crowd, even if they knew he was gonna be there, right? Matt Tremont would have popped the crowd, even if they already knew he was going to be there. He wasn't a surprise. Neither of them were fucking surprises. Nick Gage tried to make it a surprise by tweeting out that he's not in New York right now. And no one fucking believed him because it's the fucking Hammerstein Ballroom and he's going to be there. It's GCW. So in the end, instead of trying to play this game of maybe they're not there or whatever, you just fucking say, hey, they're going to be there and they're going to be the ones going after it because they don't like the idea of these outsiders, the Briscoe brothers, holding on to their belts, or whatever. There's storylines you could make that would have made this work. But in the end, it was just fucking like, here, two people, they're wrestling together for, I don't know, reason. And you're supposed to be happy about it. And again, I'd say it, if it was any other, if it was Impact Wrestling that did this, the internet wrestling community would be angry. The Twitter would be just rolling with people saying, I can't believe they had fucking Jay Lethal show up and team up with, I don't know, who's another Impact original, Christopher Daniels. Jay Lethal and Christopher Daniels show up.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah. And you would have hated if I would have said Jay Lethal and anyone else, or Christopher Daniels and anyone else. Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels show up. That wouldn't have gotten people angry because guess what? They're an established tag team.
Yeah. Ish.
So, but the Ruby Soho versus Alley Catch match was fun.
Good, very good match.
Very good match. I hope Alley Catch gets a look at one of the ones with a TV contract. Because the thing with a wrestler like Alley Catch, she's got a fucking day job she's got to deal with. You know what I mean? GCW doesn't pay the bills for her.
No.
And you can tell that she has to work another job. And if she got a job at one of the other companies that had a weekly paper or weekly television deal, that she could focus on this,
she's got some serious promise.
She'd be a star. But yeah, in the end, it was a great pay-per-view, and here's the deal: it was $25, right? You buy a AEW pay-per-view, you're dropping $60. And I think AEW pay-per-views have been better overall than this one. But have they been twice as good? More than twice as good? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll find out Revolution in a month. Maybe it'll be stupid good. And I'll be like, oh, nope, yep, that's definitely twice as good as the GCW.
Or Royal Rumble. On the 29th.
I can tell you that we will be less invested in tonight's pay-per-view, and the Royal Rumble will be slightly better than this.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
If only because of familiarity, and that's something that not watching GCW and GCW not having a weekly product.
Hands down, WWE has done a really great job of keeping Royal Rumble and WrestleMania both their top two pay-per-views. They've done a really good job of that, even over the last 4 years. While we've seen them slowly but surely deteriorate, Royal Rumble has been good every year.
Yes.
Every year.
And in the end, in the grand scheme of things, like I said, familiarity plays a big part in this.
Sure.
Like having not watched Alex Zane and Dante Leon and Shane Mercer and Jack Cartwheel and AJ Gray and Alex Colon and G Raver and Jimmy Lloyd and Team Gringo versus Team Bandito on a regular, I wasn't like emotionally invested in any of those matches. I had to make a choice when I saw people come out and say, oh, I like the look of this guy, or I like the look of that guy. Maybe I want them to win. Or I had to wait until the match was going on and see one of them do a move and be like, oh, he's impressive, or whatever. But I had no investment, and a lot of it's because they don't have a weekly show, a weekly program for us to watch. And that plays into it, and some of it's just, the nature of it being indie wrestling. When we went to Zello Pro, there were a lot of those we didn't know who any of them were. But
it's pretty easy to invest in some of them.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to invest in some of them. We just had to do basically the same thing, make a choice and stick with it,
There were some that we solidly... Oh, I thought you were going to be a face.
Yeah. I was all kind of rooting for you, and then I was like, oops, no. One of the big surprise in the pre-show Battle Royal, which I don't know if either of you guys watched. The pre-show was on YouTube. It was the Battle Royal. You had Big Vin, Charles Mason, Psycho Clown, Dark Sheik, she was pretty impressive. Cole Radrick, Pero, Hoodfoot, Ruckus, KTB, Juicy Finau, Steve Scott, Nate Webb, Brandon Kirk, Janai Kai, Dustin Thomas, Marcus Weathers, Yoya, B-Boy, Lou Fisto, and Thunder Rosa.
Lou Fisto was there?
Lou Fisto was there a day after she got inducted into the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. And Thunder Rosa was the last entrant, a big surprise. And there were a lot of fun moments in that. In the end, Big Vin was the winner. I did like to see the interactions between Thunder Rosa and Lou Fisto. I hope to see more of that in the future. But again, I didn't know most of those people, so I just had to kind of like, yeah. And then when Thunder Rosa came in, I instantly was like, she's who I want to win. Because I know her. And I know what she can do, and I'm invested in her. And she did not win.
No, she did not.
No, she did not. But it was still, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on the pay-per-view, because it was really good. I really liked it. It's just by the very nature of not being super involved in GCW, you know, you have to go entirely off of the show. And there were parts of the show that were like, meh, to me. Like, I know
Again,
Bandito. I've seen
the
the Laredo
show-
Kid once.
The show opened with a match that had PCO in it, and it ended with a match that Nick Gage won.
Mm-hmm.
That should be enough information as to why we struggle
Yeah.
falling in love with the pay-per-view.
And frankly, like, I get why they did it. Nick Gage is your guy. You wanted to have him be the final picture on the thing. But why you didn't end with the Moxley versus Homicide match? That's your world title. You know. I wish I had a time for the Jarrett versus Effie, but they don't have it updated on Cage Match yet. And because I think that match was really, really short.
I don't need a time for anything Jarrett related.
Yeah.
Anything at all. And he looked to be in terrible shape. And in an effort to skip him, I missed Mox, which really pisses me off. So that's where I stand on Jarrett.
Yeah. I just was wanting to tell you because I want to say it was sub 4 minute. But,
Yeah.
I mean, 4 minutes of Jarrett is still 4 minutes of Jeff Jarrett. So,
Amen. Absolutely true.
I do want to give just a little hint to the commentators at GCW. The move that Jeff Jarrett does at the end, that's kind of a Russian leg sweep, inverse Russian leg sweep. It's called the stroke. That's what he calls it, the stroke. It's dumb, but that's what he calls it. So if you're gonna call a match with him in it, might as well know the name of his move.
I guess they figured it wasn't worth learning since they're probably not going to see commentate many matches with him. So,
I mean, you say that, but they had him fucking come out there and rickroll one of their main guys.
yeah, but it's Jared.
Anyway, I'm going to move on. We have 10 WWE card packs to choose from. So pick a number between 1 and 10.
8.
8. That would be this pack here. Let's see if we get any people who are no longer employed by WWE. Would be even more fun if we get someone who's now employed by AEW. I drove around town today trying to find a card shop that had the new AEW cards, Upper Deck cards in, to buy some of them, to potentially have them. And I couldn't find a single store that had them.
Out, huh?
Yeah. So, first one, still with the company, but not that you'd know it if you watch TV at all, because he hasn't been used on TV. Titus O'Neil.
A
Worldwide.
AKA Rumble Slip.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that Smarks and I have actually written the best thing to do with Titus O'Neil. We can explain it later.
We've talked about it before. So far we're batting 1,000 on still with the company. So let's see if that continues. It continues with Seth freaking Rollins.
What? Again?
Our first Allen and Gintor is Bailey.
Ding dong, hello.
Bailey with the Karen hair.
Yep.
Our second Allen and Gintor is Drew McIntyre. Wasn't that one of the ones we got last time? I can't remember. I'll have to look.
No. We had Alan Gintor for AJ and Seth.
AJ and Seth. Okay. We got a sticker card of AJ Styles.
Oh, nice. That's phenomenal.
Ah, I see what you did there.
I might stick that on the back of my car.
Oh, Jesus.
See how long it takes to fade.
That's so phenomenal.
Technically still with the company, Candice LeRae.
For now.
For now. And also technically still with the company, not that you really know it, Robert Roode.
You'd know it. He's a dirty dog.
A dirty dog, and they haven't used him in the last 2 weeks. They've more or less kind of forgotten about them as a tag team and instead are doing them as like a fucking Dolph Ziggler and then his dude outside. Anyways.
Robert,
So far,
dude.
so far, we haven't gotten anyone that's been fired yet. And that's surprising.
Well, I mean, maybe they know.
No, I have to say I've watched other people unbox these, and they've gotten a shit ton of.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
They're not gonna know.
How would they know? They're gonna know.
They're not gonna know.
Well, they definitely wouldn't know though, because these are packaged way before.
Yeah, I want to say these have been on the shelves since I don't know
Last
May.
year.
I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Wait,
But-
that was like horribly done. I apologize.
Yes. Was horribly done, but a good segue into us talking about what's not horribly done. We are actually streaming on a new platform this week.
Twitchy!
Twitch TV. So if you don't want to watch us on Facebook or don't want to watch us on YouTube, you can head over to twitch.tv/raw and order WBU and watch us there.
I mean, you can
If you
argue
hate
that it's
evil
horribly done.
empires, watch us on Twitch.
You can argue that it's horribly done. They only keep your streams for like 20 days, 30
Yep.
days.
Well, that's the deal. If you want to watch us afterwards, you're not showing up live, watch us on YouTube. It's the better option. Facebook second if you want to, you know.
Fun fact for you new Twitchers, if you're randomly twitching around and you see us twitch and talk here, you can technically download your videos, though. So that is a plus for you little gamers out there. Don't want to lose your stream? You can actually download it for yourself and post it, God knows, everywhere else. So, fun little fact. Back to wrestling.
Back to wrestling, yes. So, outside of GCW, we've spent almost an hour talking about GCW. So,
Yeah, that was way too long.
let's move on to what can we talk about in the world of WWE this week. We can talk about Shotzi making an ill-timed meatloaf joke that almost got her fucking canceled.
Oh, that wasn't even the thing I was thinking you were going to talk about with her.
No, because I think the thing you're trying to talk about, I think that turned out to not be true.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I think it turned out to be people trying to backlash for the other
meatloaf thing?
the meatloaf thing.
Oh.
And so they're
but
just making up shit.
Wasn't
about
that reported from someone else? No, it wasn't, I guess. It wasn't actually reported from a dirt sheet.
it. No. Like I said, what you sent us was the only place that I'd seen it. And I haven't seen anything else about it. So I'm gonna say that unless I hear it from someplace else.
I mean, I didn't fact check it. Someone sent it to me, and I assume they do their search. But clearly they don't.
Yeah. So
But what was the meatloaf?
That's because you're a whore and you're on another podcast.
Well,
yeah.
don't be a jelly bean, because I can do other podcasts and take my time to get other podcasts done. Jeez.
It's not about being a jelly bean. We're just trying to defend our
What
own
was the
IP.
meatloaf joke? Meatloaf joke.
Right out the day after he died, she just made it wasn't even a joke. She just was like, "Oh man, I can't believe it. Yesterday I was eating meatloaf listening to Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Meatloaf the food." And she was being legit on it. She since come out and said, I didn't mean it as a joke. I was legitimately eating meatloaf while listening to Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
Just caught her off guard.
And it caught her off guard that the next day Meatloaf died. And so she probably meant to tweet it the day before and be like, I just thought it's funny that I'm eating meatloaf while listening to Meatloaf or whatever. But then the next day he died and but my goodness, people took that to heart. So
Oh, okay. Paradise City was a song by Meatloaf.
yes, it was
No,
a song.
Paradise
that's
by the
not that
Dashboard
bad.
Lights.
Paradise by the Dashboard
Paradise
Lights.
City was by
Paradise, yeah.
by
Okay, that's
Guns N'
not bad
Roses.
then. I thought she was just talking about another song, and she was just referring
There's
to
a song
Meatloaf
by
the
Meatloaf,
food.
the very famous
Okay.
song of his from back in the 70s, I want to say, called Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, that's kind of
Okay.
iconic.
Let
And
me
it was,
sleep on you,
Yeah.
baby, let me sleep on you.
my wife didn't know the song, so I was telling her the lyrics, and she's like, "That's a horrible song." I was like, "Yeah, it kind of is, you know." I mean,
But you can't say that right now.
yeah, but what I can
you
say,
can still say it. Oh no, Tony's dead. Well, he's dead. He's dead or not. It was still a
Nope.
shit song.
Nope. All Thelonious Monk songs are great now.
I mean, the only joke you can kind of get away with is that whole Bob Saget Betty White one.
the
That
joke
meme was hilarious.
this
both of those would be
this
okay.
might get me canceled for saying this, so I guess here we go. Meatloaf died of COVID, and he was a ardent anti-vaxxer who tweeted out just a couple months ago, "If I die, I die." So, you know,
died.
he died.
You did.
It happened. Play stupid
But
games.
it was COVID
Was it
complications.
COVID?
Yep, complications from COVID.
Oh.
So I mean, in the end, you know,
He was also an overweight man, and
he was an overweight
That's
man.
it. He was really shitty.
with a lot of comorbidities, which we talk about with things like COVID, are bad. And
I mean, even if it wasn't COVID complications and they just blame everything on COVID, the guy he wasn't a health nut. He ate like shit. He did everything wrong. So
He
you're gonna
played
die.
Bob.
You're gonna die of a heart attack.
he played Bob for a reason.
It's a valid point.
Fight Club, Bob. Oh, goodbye, commenter on YouTube.
Oh, bye. Sayonara. See you never.
Oh, looks like Sparks beat me to it.
nope, I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Oh, we have like a ton of them? Jesus.
No, we get two per show.
I'll
Put them in timeout. There we go.
Not too shabby.
I was in the middle of typing.
So Shotzi meatloaf joke, not so funny, but kind of funny. Hey, we have a.
That's us.
Made me do all that trying to go and see what it said. God damn.
Yeah, tell you what, here, I'm going to save you the trouble. If it's a comment that you need to know, maybe I'll just read it out to you so you don't have to put your face up to the screen.
No.
You're going to get a sunburn from the screen doing that.
In the instance that another person or another company is looking at Shotzi, pick her up. There's a big difference between trying to be inappropriate and accidentally doing something.
I mean, here's the deal, right?
Well, she didn't get fired for that. Oh, she's not even with the company anymore. Never
Yeah.
mind. She already got fired. Okay.
She already got fired. So no, in the end, here's what I'm gonna say, and here's why I think people jumping at her were at best premature and at worst just bad for it. Meatloaf is relatively famous for having a role in the movie Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? It's one of the things that people know him for. He appeared in the show, and there's actually an audience participation joke from the show after his character gets killed off screen. There's a dinner scene, and they take out the roast, and they say dinner is served. The servant does, and he drops it on the table, and it bounces. And the audience participation joke is, if it bounces, it's meatloaf. And then it bounces, and they go, it's meatloaf, right? So we've been making jokes about his name for 30 fucking years, right?
Oh,
40
absolutely.
years, right?
For sure.
We can't just instantly stop just because he's dead. Right?
I showed my uncle the meme, and he's like, "Oh man, I don't care about this. I hate meatloaf." And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
But he was referring to the food, and I was like, "Jesus Christ!"
In the end, what I will say is whether I agree with his anti-vax stance or all of that stuff doesn't matter. In the end, knowing what I know about him as a person and as an actor and as a comedian and as a singer and all of that stuff, he probably would have been 100% fine with any joke about his name right now.
Oh, for
Right?
sure. For sure.
So, why worry? That's my thing. So,
Just like if you make a joke about snow.
Why would you make a joke about snow?
Because he's the informer.
you know, it's about a plan. I like it, boom, boom, now.
I know, but he's not dead.
But if he dies, I mean,
Yeah.
he melted away a long time ago in terms of his profession.
Oh, Jesus. I would take offense to that. He's Canadian. You put some respect on his name.
But he's
Canadian
also
rapper?
Jamaican.
No, he's Canadian. Jamaican me crazy right now. Okay, he's Canadian. Are they gonna do that? No, not funny.
No,
Okay,
no, I
carry
don't
on.
think so.
It's a time joke. You can laugh later. Carry on away, my soul.
AEW show this week was pretty decent. It wasn't super great, but it wasn't bad.
Kudos to Sting. Sting ended up doing that nice little spot.
60-year-old
that
Sting
match
throwing
by
his body
himself.
around like he's 50.
Like he's 50. Yeah, no, that's it was really cool to see that. And I just love the fact that it proved WWE wrong. They could have definitely used them a lot more. That was 10 years before what Sting is doing now.
Yep.
So
yeah, I have no choice but to say that when Sting first came to AEW, I said on this very podcast that I was a little worried about him wrestling matches because he's 60 and I didn't want to see him fucking die.
Right.
And he's proving me wrong on this. He is fucking throwing his ass around and
He's
wrestling
doing things to protect himself, though.
But he is. Yeah, he's safe. I mean, he did that dive off the stage.
He's not going to pull a Jeff Hardy Swanton bomb over here. You know what I mean? He's going to do safe things.
Yeah, he's safe. He is respectful, but at the same point, he was fucking fire in that match. I mean, that match. In the end, watching that match, you could almost imagine him doing some singles matches. He hasn't yet done any singles matches, but you could imagine him doing some singles matches because he did that match and he looked good enough in that match that he could probably hold up against someone, Right. I'm not saying you put him out there against Mox or fucking Brian Cage right now.
Brian Cage. Rumors are flying about Brian Cage.
That's something good to talk about right now. The rumors are flying about a lot of people. No, first of all, we already mentioned that Lio Rush has announced that February 14th his contract ends with AEW. He announced it before AEW had a chance to announce anything. So take it for what it will. It could be that AEW was like, we're still trying to work things out with you, fucker.
And he's just like, nah,
I'm done. But what that does mean is whatever contract he has with AEW is a short-term signed contract, right?
Right.
Because he hasn't even been there for a year, and he did take like 3 months in retirement. So it means he was probably signed to a 6-month at most contract, limited contract, and they're at the moment looking like they're probably not going to renew it. We also have talked about on this show before how a lot of wrestlers probably signed a 3-year contract when they first started AEW, and we are at the 3-year. Wrestlers like Joey Janella, who just wrestled tonight in the Hammerstein Ballroom in a good match. Wrestlers like Sonny Kiss, Brian Cage, Marco Stunt. These are some wrestlers that are on the bubble right now that very well might find themselves with no jobs here in the future. Now, it is worth pointing out that Tony Khan is sticking to what he had said before, in that he wants to be a company that doesn't cut wrestlers needlessly. When you sign a contract with AEW, they will honor the contract to the best of their abilities most of the time.
Which technically means so they're going to pay them right?
Yeah.
Because it's not. It's at least
they're going to go full term on the contract.
Yeah.
right.
They're
So
gonna
if they
try and
sign
give
you
them
for a 3
television
year,
time.
It's
yeah,
not
you're
a
gonna-
per appearance thing. It's
yeah.
you're gonna get
well,
paid. And, okay.
they've apparently got multiple tiers. They've got a tier 1 contract, which is probably something like Leo Rush. That's a short term, limited number of things. They do have a tier that's a per appearance. I know that because Kira Hogan is apparently on the per appearance deal.
Okay.
But I don't know the terms of it or anything. But that's
But
apparently
obviously,
what
with
came
the 3 years, or it's just you have to do
But
these
yeah.
minimum dates, and then you'll get paid this much, and then if there's anything more,
Well,
you'll get
yeah,
a bonus.
I mean, and ultimately, we don't know the exact terms of the contracts,
right.
but in the end, there's a time limit on them all, and when the time limit is up, the time limit's up. And I don't think we're gonna see Tony Khan coming out and saying, "Well, you were injured for 3 months. We're gonna tack 3 months onto the end of your contract." In the end, if the person doesn't want to be with AEW and AEW doesn't have plans for them, Tony Khan's going to say, listen, didn't work out. We're going to let your contract expire. You're free to start taking bookings elsewhere. You always were free to take bookings as long as they didn't interfere with your AEW schedule. Now
Right.
you can do them whenever, right? And so in that respect, I think we have to give Tony Khan at least a little bit of credit because he looks like, I mean, there's only been a
I don't
handful
gotta
of
do
people.
shit.
There've only been a handful of people that have been let go from AEW, and of them all, most of them were let go for a reason. Like B. Priestley and Sadie Gibbs were not able to make it to the United States due to COVID. And Tony Khan let them out of their contracts, not because he wanted to let them go. I think he still wanted B. Priestley and Sadie Gibbs. He just knew they couldn't make it to the United States, and it was better for them to be out of their contract so they could sign with another company. B. Priestley could go sign with Stardom or fucking Tokyo Joshi Pro or wherever she wants to, and be there. And in the end, that's what he did. He let them go so they could go do what they want to do. And I think B. Priestley ended up going somewhere, and I'm trying to remember where. I think I saw her wrestling under her new name. Yep, Blair Davenport in NXT is B. Priestley. So,
Oh, snap.
so she's now in NXT. Oh, geez, NXT just signing all these AEW cast-offs. It doesn't work when you say it that way.
Well, no. I mean, you're equally a mark as those people are, but
I'm just making fun of those people. Frankly, I'm happy for her if they use her. She's fucking good enough that she needs to be fucking
oh yeah.
used.
I mean, we at one point we thought she was in the title picture. So,
But that's the deal is, AEW so far has only released people for reason like that, which usually was, hey, we're going to let you go so that you can go be the star that you want to be someplace else, right? Or, hey, your contract is up, we're going to just let it expire. And that's what it looks like is going to be happening here. So Brian Cage is one of those people whose name is on the bubble. And it's sad. He must have only had a 2-year contract because he wasn't there at the beginning. But his contract is apparently up soon. And it's sad. He just never seemed to find his place in AEW. No. And I don't know who that was, whether it was just Tony Khan not having a place for him or him struggling with creative or what, I don't know. It would be nice to see them give him another shot and push him, but the other side of the coin is he's going to land on his feet. He's going to go somewhere. If he needs to go back to Impact, he'll go back to Impact and return there. Where his wife is ring announcer.
He'll be taking the title off of one Braun Breaker.
He's got a good look for. He's got a good look for WWE. I think his age would be the thing that would hold WWE back from that right now.
I also don't think they would let him be this Wolverine.
No.
So now he's gonna shave the buttons.
Guys, how weird does it look if I wear sunglasses?
Over glasses? Who does that?
Yeah, it's like a clip-on.
Considering you're wearing granny glasses, it looks like you're an old lady.
Yeah, it still looks kind of weird.
It's the best look ever for you, bud. You should keep it.
I wear my sunglasses at night. I wear my... You know what? You actually look kind of like X-Pac.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
I don't know that Jesus ever wore sunglasses.
No, I don't think they had them back then.
They must have made them with some other... I'm sure they had some...
They probably had like the ones with the slits.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had the way to make tinted glass back then.
No, that's it. Exactly.
Mostly people just squinted. It's so bright out here.
Oh, it's so bright.
But
do you actually see my other glasses? Because it kind of covers. No, it's actually covering pretty good.
Yeah. That's a good look for you.
Yeah. It's a super good look on a podcast at fucking midnight.
Damn right.
I mean,
I innovate the wheel, damn it.
If I didn't know that pot was legal in Montreal, I would totally think that you're just hiding being stoned. No, guys, I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm totally fine, guys.
Not even stoned. Just my eyes are fucking hurting from the light.
But so the person who might be cut from AEW here soon that I'm probably most upset about, if upset's the best word, is Joey Janella. I think Joey Janella has a whole lot of upside that was never tapped into in AEW, and they need to give him a shot. But if the decisions, I mean, his contract's going to be up here in the next couple months, and if the decision's already been made, hopefully he's making the most out of this GCW, partnership he's been doing, and I hope for the best for him. I just thought he was one of those names coming into AEW right off the bat that I was super excited to see more often.
Well, and again, the downside to AEW when they're at a startup is they're going to grab anybody they can, and as they're slowly but surely finding their niche, which doesn't include Brian Cage, but does include Miro, so they don't really like a lot of big guys, but they'll take some big guys.
I mean, they're doing nothing with Hobbs. They are doing something with Wardlow, though. So
we're
and Archer, because Archer's pretty big now.
Yeah, and they're working on finding a niche for what types of wrestlers they want and stuff like that. The risk you have early on is that as a Marco stunt, you're going to get a short career there, and not a lot of exposure.
Really?
But the benefit that a Marco stunt, that a Brian Cage, that all of them get, is that they got exposure that they never would have had any other time.
In the end, none of them are worse off than they were before they signed.
Correct.
They're all in a better position. They've all gotten a name recognition. They can all demand a little bit more booking fee. They can all demand a little bit more for autographs, yada, 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 right? Mm-hmm. They've all sold more T-shirts and will continue to sell more T-shirts. Right. So they're all better off. I'm not, I'm sad that I won't see some of them on TV.
That's it. And I think Janella is really good friends with Cardona anyways. Mm-hmm. So with wherever Cardona goes, I feel like Joey might be a big part of GCW for a while too. And they just never really used them. I mean, the last thing I can remember with Joey Janela, I'm not counting the Sunny Kiss tag team, was him versus Mox in that like hardcore.
Yeah, that was a great match.
That was a great match.
That's kind of the thing that frustrates me with Joey Janela being on this list is if I go back over the 3 years of AEW, that Joey Janela versus Mox match is top 10.
And that was like in the first year.
Yeah. And it's top 10. It showed so much potential, and then they really never
did anything. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what happened there. Was it Janella who just wasn't interested in trying to figure out his character? Was it Tony Khan who just didn't know how to figure out his character? I don't know, because Joey Janela generally. Who?
You.
Bouncing my leg.
Because your whole camera was shaking like it was in an earthquake.
Oh,
like you were bouncing your leg and it was shaking your whole table.
That was possible.
Like it was
my
doing
bad.
this.
All right, my bad. I'll remove my foot from touching the table. Yeah, so I don't know which one it was, but Joey Janela is generally a hardcore guy, right? He's not necessarily all crazy technical.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. One of the things he was trying to change in his AEW time was that reputation as the hardcore guy.
Right.
He was trying to become known as more of a traditional wrestler. And I think he made some strides in that, but in the end, people just see him as a hardcore wrestler, and I think that's part of where the things fell apart for him.
I also think he didn't really develop much personality on screen. I'm not saying he doesn't have it. I'm just saying there wasn't a lot of development of him being something other than a hardcore RVD or a hardcore Jeff Hardy. It was colorful and hardcore. And so those when you get those two things, you're like, well, okay. Like.
And there's only so much you can do with that kind of character, right? I've expressed that I hate John Moxley's current character now because all he is hardcore, get in ring, boom, 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 and get out. Which I hope now with the sobriety of John Moxley, that somewhat changes a bit. We didn't necessarily see that on Rampage or on GCW. But I mean, hopefully his character evolves to something else a bit more. That's all. So that's the Joey Janela box he was in. And unfortunately, he can't be like Omega, where Omega can do these hardcore matches, but then go do phenomenal other wrestling matches and so on. But Omega's a whole other behemoth in himself, right? So comparing him to that
in the end, I think if AEW had given Janela a few more chances to do some more traditional matches on a big stage, I think we would have seen a lot from him. Because like this GCW match tonight, it
wasn't
featured
excessively hardcore.
Yeah, it wasn't excessively hardcore. It featured some things like some of the doors. GCW loves to use the hollow core doors. Right. And here's the deal: I actually had an epiphany when watching that, and I was like, AEW needs to use the doors for women's tables matches. Because they always have a problem with the women going through the table. They just don't weigh enough by nature. So if you use these tables fucking explode at the littlest touch on them. These hollow core doors. But that's the deal. They had some doors. They had maybe one or two chair shots in it.
Okay.
And then the finish featured the use of the internet title belt that Matt Cardona has, but it wasn't like a hardcore match. There weren't like barbed wires. There were no thumbtacks in the thing or any of that stuff. It was a relatively traditional match, more or less, especially for a GCW match, right?
Fair. Yeah.
So
all right, I'm actually excited to watch that then, because nice.
Yeah. Like I said, it was a pretty decent match all in all. It got a little bumblefuck at the end with just everybody one person show up and then another person show up and then another person. Yeah, the big guy, and then there's Hornswoggle and then Swoggle. Like, can't use Hornswoggle, he'll get sued.
Swoggle.
Yeah, just Swoggle.
Just Swoggle.
But anyway, so it was a fun match. It might be one of my matches of the night, to be perfectly honest. Of the GCW, the world on GCW, I think I'd probably give either that one or the Ruby Soho versus Allie Catch.
I don't know, man. The brass ring match was fantastic.
Brass ring match was pretty good too. Those would be
so,
like
and
top
so
three,
is the Leo Rush. Like those four, all great matches, which is the other telling part about this pay-per-view. If you were to give something the worst match of the night, you'd probably give it to Briscoes and Nick Gage and guy I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunate because it was an okay match. It just no way to invest in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to say the Jeff Jarrett versus Effie is worst match of the night.
True.
But
I didn't watch it.
But yeah. So Impact, not Impact, AEW, we got some people probably getting let go soon. Not let go, just letting their contract expire. All of them, like I said, are going to be in a better place now than they were before they signed their contracts. All of them have more leverage with other companies to get better bookings or to get better contracts. You know, Brian Cage goes back to Impact. He's going to have more leverage now because he's raised his stature.
And also, if XPW still does another event, he's apparently the XPW champion. So,
well, and he can go up to Warrior Wrestling. He can start touring around and go to fucking Zello Pro. Or I mean, he can have all sorts of fun when he comes out of it. So he'll be fine. I think it's sad that he didn't get a better shake in AEW, but things happen. Same thing with Joey Janella, same thing with Sonny Kiss even. But again, they're all going to be better off now than they were before. They're all going to be able to go to wherever they go and say, I was an AEW original. You benefit from putting my name on this card. So give me
I feel like WWE might try to pick him up.
Some of them might. Possibly. I don't know. With the news that people backstage are less than happy with the current success of NXT 2.0, who knows? Maybe they'll turn around and reverse course on some of these edicts of not hiring indie wrestler guys anymore. Because Joey Janela would struggle in WWE, no doubt about that. But Brian Cage, if allowed, he'd be good.
It'll be a Lashley situation. You know what I mean?
Sonny Kiss could under the right gimmick be
going to be another Goldust.
Yeah, but if he gets successful, I mean, money is money.
Yeah.
Sonny Kiss probably, I think, would go to a place like Impact more likely. I think he fits there better. But the other people like Peter Avalon is apparently already gone.
Oh, really?
Longer in. His contract apparently expired this week, and so last week.
Snap.
He's apparently already gone. Also means that Leva Bates is probably on that cusp as well because they were signed basically the same time. Leva Bates apparently has a backstage role as like social media and stuff like that, so she might be kept on for the backstage role less than her on-screen role, but who knows on that. But there's a fair amount of those from that first round that might find their contracts expiring, and it'll be interesting to watch this next couple of months. That being said, at the same time as some contracts are expiring, I would not be surprised to see AEW pick up some people that were recently in other promotions, especially some people from Ring of Honor. I texted the group on watching AEW Dark. There was a wrestler named Khan on AEW Dark, and he's apparently a former Ring of Honor. And he's got a really good look and really impressive, even though he was enhancement talent for a match to lose to a named wrestler. I can't remember who he wrestled against, but it was someone with a real name in AEW.
I could even see him like in the House of Black kind of thing as like an enforcer as well. I haven't seen his wrestling though, so I don't know if he's Malachi Black style or even Brody King style. Yeah, but he definitely has that House of Black look.
Big scary fucker, that's what he has.
But But he's got a really good look, so it'd be interesting to see if he gets a contract. We mentioned the Briscoes potentially. Even a short-term contract with AEW would be good for both sides on that. Sign them to a 6-month, here's the thing you do with the Briscoes. You sign them to a 6-month with a release clause for when Ring of Honor starts up again, if they, that they can negotiate their release if they want to go back to Ring of Honor, right? Or something like that. But a 6-month, they'd be like, Ring of Honor starts up again. We'll give it a couple months, then we'll go back in and say we want our titles back. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, so a fair amount of people from Ring of Honor are available, and I wouldn't be surprised if AEW signs a few of them. And then there's a whole bunch of people, former WWE people, that are floating around that AEW could get a shot to, and with money freed up from contracts expiring, we could see some new contracts get picked up. So.
Well, at the same time, there's also going to be some probably renewals too. So, but yeah, and I mean, it depends when WWE's next release is. If it's after the Rumble or if it's after Mania or before Mania, So that might be interesting too. And I think maybe Khan is weighing the odds on who he would like to bring in.
He's already said that he's going to try to be more conscientious on who he signs. Like DFA mentioned, when you first start up, you kind of have to grab the best people that you can at the time. And at the time, WWE was hoarding.
Not releasing everybody.
And not releasing people and hoarding people. And so, they grabbed the people that were the best available at the time. But they're building a team, and there are more people available now, so who knows who's going to show up. I did want to talk about a match that's coming up this week that was set up on Dynamite. Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander versus Adam Cole and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Great match. That was fun.
It was a really fun match, and it also featured the debut of the DMD Baby t-shirt, which was brilliant.
Oh, snap. Didn't notice
that. I mean, they're definitely going all in on them together. And that at the end of the match, afterwards, Adam Cole, absolutely livid over the events of the match, challenged Orange Cassidy to a lights out match at Beach Break this week.
That's going to be a good time. I mean, between Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, ladder match, that should be fun. Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole, looking to be. I feel like there was another match announced too, but even just those two. If I just had those two matches at Beach Break, I would be gold. So it's already looking to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited for them. I'm an Orange Cassidy fan, and I'm a Sammy Guevara fan. It's going to be interesting to see.
And the 6-man tag.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if they have Sammy Guevara become the new unified TNT champion, or if they're going to give Cody some sort of a heel victory. He's playing this I'm not turning heel, but then doing heelish shit.
I mean, listen,
really well.
I feel like the Forbidden Door creator will be getting the title.
Yeah. I feel like the fact that Cody Rhodes does not currently have a contract will play into the finish of him losing. And then he's going to be...
Royal Rumble.
No, he's not going to be at the Royal Rumble. He's going to be the loose cannon who's without a contract but keeps showing up and messing with plans. And here's the deal. I'm going to have to go back and look at the exact wordings for it. But if I'm correct, when he said that if he loses the match, he will never challenge for the AEW World title while he's with AEW. So when he's no longer under contract with AEW, does that open up a position for him to say, I'm not under contract anymore, so I'm going after that title? I mean, the biggest heel move he could do is go back on that word in some way. Find a loophole that he can go back on that word. And I know he keeps saying, I'm not going to be heel. I don't want to be heel because I want to, I'm here for the fans. I'm here for you. But in the grand scheme of things, he's doing a lot of heel shit. And so I just think they're going to be him being heel at some
Tony
point.
Khan sent me a contract that I didn't like very. I don't know. Remember his
Not
words,
exactly the contract I wanted.
I wanted. I'm like, oh no! Look at that, Mr. Roman Reigns. Wasn't my idea.
Yeah. Well, and more specifically, Tony Khan calls himself the Forbidden Door, but I was the Forbidden Door. I built the Forbidden Door. I did all this. I did all that. That's all heel shit. So either he gets the win in building his heel status, or he loses, but then can become like the heel, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna fuck with shit character. One of my favorite moments from AEW this week was in the absolute shortest match AEW had, CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. And the moment was Shawn Spears out there looking all smug and looking over at Daddy MJF for approval. Look at me, I'm going out here and I'm gonna beat up on CM Punk. And then CM Punk just hitting him 2 moves. Boom, pin, done. And then looking at MJF, like, next. It was the perfect storytelling for this, because I was like, after the symphony of powerbombs, is that what they call it? Powerbomb symphony. Last week, I was like, how are they going to have Shawn Spears? Because you can't have Shawn Spears do the same sort of thing with him. He doesn't have the gravitas that Wardlow does.
Right.
And so having this, 3-second match was perfect.
And I mean, it made sense. It made sense for a squash. It's not like Omos and Reggie, which made no fucking sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's ways to at least do squash matches, or it's not a new guy comes in, we want to make him look strong, let's squash everybody to go do it, which essentially is an Omos thing. But this one just had a story. If you have a story to go with it, this makes sense. Plus, I don't like how Shawn Spears gets treated. But I mean, I just feel like the guy's never been dealt a good hand anywhere he goes. But
the unfortunate thing is Shawn Spears might be on that list. Not right off the bat, but he was signed relatively early in AEW.
Yeah.
And
it was the chairman event. That was his first show.
And he's really good. I really like his skills. The problem is I just don't know if he's found his legs in AEW yet. And he's gotten closer with this whole Wardlow accountability buddy thing. But I kind of worry that he's on the chopping block. House of Black versus Varsity Blondes. Very short match, steamrolled through. It was nice to see Brody King in action, but it was very short, so we didn't get to see a ton of Brody King. And then afterwards, there was a Pac promo where he, wants.
I feel like Pac is turning, though, man. I feel like he's gonna turn. They're gonna have a good match, but then like he's gonna turn at some point.
I think the storyline they're telling is the Black Mist is corruption, because they also, through the course of this Varsity Blondes thing, have teased Julia Hart turning on the Varsity Blondes too, and that she got sprayed with the mist, and now she's gonna be on their side. So the only downside to this is I don't know when it happened, but apparently Brian Pillman Jr. suffered a concussion at this match, and he's missing time. He had to miss a couple events because of that over the weekend. So
I have a segue.
Segue.
You better fucking apologize to the fans.
Yeah. He's going to miss time. You better fucking apologize. Were you as absolutely stoked to hear the "fuck Bully Ray" chants in the Hammerstein ballroom?
Is there an appropriate way? Is there an appropriate way to deliver your return speech?
Yeah,
sure. Is it an apology to the fans for being gone for 2 months and taking care of yourself? No.
Well, that's the deal.
I feel like acknowledging their thank yous and support is also saying like, I'm sorry I was gone, but I appreciate the kind words for getting me to a place where I can be better for you guys. So I don't think a necessarily I'm sorry is needed. If you're a legit wrestling fan and you care for the wrestlers and you care for the sport as a whole.
It's not like he came out and said, fuck the fans. They made me drink.
It's not like he was
promo we cut.
It's not like he was missing time because he just didn't want to wrestle.
Correct.
Right?
Here's the deal. By the way, there's a guy named Stone Cold who literally did that. Missed time because he didn't want to wrestle.
Yeah.
And came back.
In the end, it comes down to this. I view Moxley's rehab stint the same way I view anyone else's injury stint. He was injured. In this case, it's a recognized illness by the American Medical Association.
Right.
He was not fit to wrestle, and he went off for treatment. And so just like I'm not going to be angry at Brian Pillman for missing some time because he had a fucking concussion, I'm not going to be angry at Mox for missing some time because he had to get treatment for taking care of himself.
Or for somebody for having COVID. Hell, I'm not pissed off at Meatloaf for having COVID. And not being and not producing any more albums.
Right. And even if you did apologize, because I know some people might say, guys, I'm sorry I was off for those. I mean, it's not a mandatory thing to apologize at all. You know, some people will just say, guys, listen, I'm sorry.
You know what?
I'm sorry I maybe let you down. I was struggling.
I want to go back through Bully Ray's entire career and find all the times he missed time due to an injury. And fucking say, oh, I didn't hear you apologize on January 15th, 2002 when you came back after missing time with a torn ACL or whatever. Yeah. You know, I don't remember you apologizing when you had a concussion in 2006 and couldn't wrestle for a month. Fuck you, man.
Pieces, like he gave a genuine thank you for your support. On his way back, the other piece. I mean, if he so decided, if him and Tony Khan sat down and said, "Hey, I would like to be a heel," and he came out and delivered a promo that said, "Fuck the fans, you're the reason I drank. You're the reason I had to go to rehab. You're the problem." You know what?
Yeah,
that's a fucking promo. He wrote it. It's acting.
I gotta be honest. I don't remember Bully Ray saying that Becky Lynch should apologize to the fans for missing over a year because of her pregnancy and baby.
She had a baby.
Oh man, she didn't apologize for that.
Okay, but it's none of that. Let's get out of the baby. He's more referring to if you're gonna go deal with your own shit. Well, what this is too, though, this is someone
she was dealing with her own shit. She was pregnant with a baby.
I mean alcoholism.
She didn't have to make mad passionate love to.
I mean a sick mental dealing with stuff. You know what I mean?
She had sex with Seth Rollins. That's a sick mental problem.
Yeah. On top of it, it comes down to this. Sick mental problem or not, in the end, again...
Personal time off is something
Bully Ray...
American Medical Association defines alcoholism as a disease. Disease. It's not mental... It's not, I didn't feel like wrestling. It's a disease.
So I feel like Bully Ray basically has never went to rehab or has had a severe
doesn't fucking matter if he
addiction.
Has or not.
Well, it does because it shows that he's not considerate.
No, I've never had cancer, but if a person misses time because they have cancer, I'm not going to say, oh, you need to apologize, right? You don't have to have had the disease to have empathy towards it, right? You don't have to even be of the class. I can have empathy towards a class or a race or a set of people that I'm not a part of. I can have empathy towards Becky Lynch missing time because she was pregnant and had to have a baby and the absolute havoc that having a baby does to your body. I can have empathy for
never
it.
Had a baby, you
but I've
but
never had a baby.
Calling her out, saying, "Hey, apologize."
Yeah,
for making a baby.
because I've obviously never had a baby, so I can get away with calling her out for it. You need to apologize. That it's bullshit. In the end, it's bullshit. There's no difference.
And the guy cut a promo and said thanks to the fans. And
yeah,
like here's the deal. What if they did decide that he's going to come back as a heel, pissed off at the fans because that. Now, tasteless promo, yes. Tasteless turn, yes. Can Moxley pull off heel? Fuck yeah, he can.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if that's what they decided, Bully Ray? Then what are you going to say? Because you have a podcast platform, it's one of the largest podcasts for professional wrestling. You're going to say that how he cut a promo, the words he used don't fit Bully Ray's model for how he expects that promo. And again, a promo, not a Twitter page, not anything like that, a promo on how you say, hey, I appreciate being able to get the help I needed. You know, the first person he should have said thank you to or I appreciate is his wife. And oh, fuck, he did that.
Yeah, oh, geez.
So I don't want to hear
Did he mention his wife? I don't think he did,
On Twitter.
Oh, on Twitter. Okay,
Not in the promo.
Not in the promo. Okay.
I mean, because at the end of the day, he wanted to come back and wanted to fucking wrestle, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. We've had fucking 50 years of wrestlers not explaining their absences and just coming back and everything. What did Hulk Hogan ever explain why he missed time? No. He fucking went off and filmed his movie and then came back, and now he's back. And everyone's like, Hulk Hogan's back. And he never apologized. Sorry, I had to take time off, brother, to film a movie. No.
You're also just falling into Bully Ray's publicity. He knew that wasn't going to be a very popular opinion, and
that's absolutely why he did it.
Yeah, that's absolutely a point. But
we're
what?
a
Fuck
smaller
Bully Ray.
podcast, so we're going to use him to make us bigger.
Yeah, fuck Bully Ray.
Fuck him.
Yeah, there's a reason everyone liked Devon better.
For sure. Way to quote Renee, bud.
Yes. What I love about that is someone went out and created a fake Devon account just to reply to that and say, thanks, man, or whatever. The internet can be fun sometimes. That's all I'm saying. But it's true.
And again, do I fault him for saying, had Moxley come back and been like, nothing ever happened or anything like that, I suppose you're allowed to have your opinion, and I don't fault him for having one. I just fault him for there was something that he said. He did say things. He didn't leave it as a completely non-talked about thing. He talked about
and he made it
as a
positive.
Whole, said it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. And he encouraged his fans, everyone watching him, and so on. Hey, guys, the inside scars are what makes you. And you know what? It's the whole battle of trying to fight with them. You are who you are, and acknowledge that and be the best person you can be. He was very uplifting and whatever. And it was great. Like, Bully Ray's just fucking didn't have anything else to talk about.
Hey, Bully Ray, let me run this promo by you. I just broke my ankle 6 months ago, and now I'm back to wrestling. So
also, Mox ended with probably one of my favorite phrases in a promo of all time. From now on, all I drink is blood.
Because I'm thirsty.
That sounds disgusting.
Metal. Yeah. We need Warhorse to come out and headbang for that. Moving on AEW, Sky Blue versus Serena Deeb.
We're just going through all
the
AEW.
Psycho.
I'm just scrolling past
it.
Yeah, Serena Deeb, she plays the Psycho very, very well.
She does.
And she's got the skills to match up to it. And I like Sky Blue. I hope we see a lot more of Sky Blue. But
God, that's also a great segue. I mean, Serena Deeb was let go for not being part of the CM Punk coalition for what is it, Straight Edge Society, going out and having a drink in public.
Mm-hmm. It would be interesting.
Product placement there was exceptional.
It would be interesting if they played off that just briefly backstage, like just had CM Punk cutting a promo and Serena Deeb walk by the camera and them kind of look at each other and nod, and or something silly like that. Not necessarily put them back together in any way, shape, or form, but just pay homage to that.
I thought you were gonna have you were talking about Mox. I was like, dude, that's so insensitive. Like,
no,
it's okay to not be okay. The Serena Deeb out of nowhere, like, the fuck, man.
No,
really
to CM Punk because
yes,
because she was part of the Straight Edge Society and then failed to be straight edge. Not that she was really straight edge, but
that's exactly why she got fired, because she had a drink.
She was spotted having a drink.
Spotted at the hotel bar having a drink.
Because remember, this is when WWE still kept kayfabe pretty hardcore. And so the fact that she was in the Straight Edge Society and the whole thing with straight edge is you don't drink, you don't do any drugs, you're straight edge. And the pictures came out of her having a drink at a bar. WWE held that against her and filed it. What else?
It was for breaking kayfabe that she was fired.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you have the Walter Gunther thing. We've talked about that on Tuesday. Still stupid.
I was going to jokingly just change my name to either Walter or Gunther for the podcast, and then I forgot to.
Detective Gunther Smarks.
Yes. Walter Smarks. Since Gunther's taken them.
True.
But John Moxley versus Ethan Page on Rampage was good. Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay was a really good match.
Yes. Jade Cargill put on a longer than 3-minute match that was really good. Huh, JLB?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm just glad to see it. I haven't seen one yet, so it's great that I can finally see a longer than 3-minute match. Keep going. I'm excited by it. Also, I mean, hey guys, we had some pretty good WWE stuff too. I mean, Lashley and Seth Rollins was pretty decent.
The hug. I love the hug. I don't know why I love the hug, but I love the hug.
The hug.
Seth and Kevin.
Oh, yes. They're just freaking fantastic together.
They work great together.
They're just awesome. And guys, I think
I hate Seth's gimmick, but I love it with Kevin for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's just glorifying his gimmick, though. But you like it better? That's interesting.
Because Kevin does such a good job of
he does
making things work with anybody.
He does.
I'm going to take a moment to point out that 3 of Jade Cargill's last 4 matches have all been over 8 minutes long. 11 minutes 13 seconds, 8 minutes 45 seconds. The only one that was shorter was when she destroyed Sky Blue in the Eliminator.
But it's most probably because a lot of those were still kind of her dominating. We didn't see an actual wrestling on both ends. Sort of.
You think number 4
you think Jade Cargill versus Thunder Rosa did not feature Thunder Rosa having offense? Think Jade Cargill versus Ruby Soho didn't feature Ruby Soho having offense?
Stop, because he's going to say something like, well, if she's going up against exceptional wrestlers, then that's the only way she can put on a good match.
Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet went 9 minutes. You think they didn't give Red Velvet some offense in there?
Not a lot, though. Yes, they gave offense. She hit, but she dominated the majority of the match, is what I'm saying. I want a legit wrestling on both
Jade
ends.
Cargill versus Red Velvet has been my favorite one-sided feud in a long time. That needs to pay off with Red Velvet getting the win.
Well, now it's not. It's going to be...
Give it time. Give it time.
Dominating the TBS. But I also wanted to express, because you guys are talking a lot of AEW, so I also wanted to say that The Usos guys, I guess, are the common denominator in having fantastic tag matches, because that match also on SmackDown between Usos and Kevin and Seth, absolutely phenomenal. Usos, honestly, guys, they arguably had maybe the match of the year potential on day one with the New Day, and now they are still doing it, although New Day-ish. And now, yes, I know we've seen New Day and Usos too much, but the Usos, honestly, are the common denominator, and I hope at some point they just turn on Roman and really let them excel to do at least more and thrive, because them being Roman's lackeys is working, especially that worked on Raw when they super kicked Seth. That was cool. That was dope. But it's I don't know. I don't think they can do Roman for another year. Jesus Christ. I don't think they can do Roman for like another year like this either. So Usos got to eventually turn. But kudos to Usos and Seth and KO on a fantastic SmackDown main event. It's freaking awesome. Same thing, or just even for the Best Friends and Young Bucks on Rampage. That was also pretty fire. Well, not Best Friends. It's Trent and
Trent Beretta and
Romero.
Nick Jackson.
No, Ricky Romero, no?
Rocky Romero didn't wrestle because he got the COVID, so it was just Trent Beretta versus Nick Jackson. Yes. It was Nick Jackson's. This is a stat that I didn't know going into this, but it was only Nick Jackson's third solo match in all of AEW.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did not realize that. I thought he'd wrestled way more solo matches. I think Matt Jackson has wrestled a bunch of solo matches, but Nick Jackson hasn't.
You confuse the brother. I see how it is.
Apparently, which is silly, because I think Nick Jackson is by far the more talented of the Young Bucks.
Oh, yes, very talented.
But for them to keep him to only 3 matches, that's crazy.
Just 3 matches.
I got a new pop filter, so let's see if this works with this. Welcome to the Raw and Order podcast. Sweaty balls.
Wrestling booking unit.
Yes. Make sure to put your sweaty balls in your mouth. Brought to you by Sweaty Balls.
I can't reach.
Can't reach your balls?
Sweaty balls in your mouth. Gotta go get some sweaty balls.
I need to go get more sweaty balls.
I don't know if this pop filter works as well as my old pop filter. Maybe I'll double up on pop filters.
It's okay.
Maybe I'll have 2 pop filters.
2 pop filters.
2 pop filters.
2.
I like the looks of this one better, though.
It is bigger.
Okay, so are we closing the book, or are we talking about something?
We can talk about all sorts of shit. We can talk about whatever you want, man. I don't know.
Where's Titan?
You wanted to talk WWE, so keep talking WWE.
Well, no. I mean, I'm not just to talk WWE. I'm just saying give them a fair chance in the conversation, because they did at least 2 pretty fantastic matches with the tag and then the Lashley Seth match. So
next Sunday, WWE will dominate our conversation.
They also did botch, with the stupidity of Austin Theory and freaking Vince McMahon with their own little self-mutilation stupidity. But that has to end at some point. Austin Theory being Vince's bitch is just ridiculous. Vince is looking really stupid.
What has to end is them fucking jobbing Finn Balor out all the time.
I mean, that's a given, though. That's going to happen now. Dude, they lost faith in Finn Balor ages ago.
They never had faith in Finn Balor. The reports have it that Vince McMahon never had faith in him, but he was talked into making Finn Balor the Universal Champion. And then,
injury, don't you, Finn?
When Finn Balor got injured, Vince McMahon just saw it as further proof as to why he was never the man. I gotta be honest, I can't talk too much about WWE this week because I fucking fell asleep during Raw. I missed a bunch of it because it was boring, and I went.
And I mean, granted, during Raw, yes, I was the same, but I looked at the results, and then I saw, hey, Lashley Seth. Let me check at least that out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it wasn't enough to make me check it out.
Well, I mean, yes, I get that, but it was a really good match. So, and
So, yeah.
SmackDown, you also have to, I don't know, not get Sling TV and get something where you can watch SmackDown. Doesn't Peacock play it?
Not
No?
live. Nope.
Not live. Okay, but they play it like the next day?
I don't think it's the next day. I think because if it's anything like the network, their deal was like
It's
2
like
months later.
2 months later or something. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So yeah, by then.
But in the end, I know we've talked and said that SmackDown is the better show, and it probably is. But frankly, with as bad as Raw has been, I've been happier not watching SmackDown. I get to do shit on Friday night and then come home and watch Rampage and be happy. So.
Yeah, I mean, all you really had was just the it's really just the Roman show. I mean, if it wasn't for Roman, SmackDown really wouldn't have anything. So
we actually have a podcast that covers WWE for us. It's our sister podcast, Wrestle Talk Now. You should watch it. It's the little sister podcast.
So it's a little sister podcast. It's kind of like
no.
Wrestling Talk Now. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like our little sister podcast that doesn't actually know that they're our little sister and thinks they're the big sister, and then steals from us and steals our clothes.
Steals your clothes.
Meaty goodness.
Oh, quotes. It's not really yours. I stole it from Warhorse, so yeah. No.
Who cut it for us? It's ours.
It's Warhorse's.
Cut it for us. We played it at the beginning of this, and you stole it.
Make a shirt.
You stole our story. Have you? Yeah. Yep.
Meaty podcasting goodness.
Meaty podcast. I personally think everyone should go to the shop and check out the new generic ass podcast merch shirt. That's one of my favorites. I've got 2 versions. I've got the safe version and the spicy version. So you got the generic podcast merch or the generic ass podcast merch.
That is spicy.
Yeah. I also my favorite thing about it is the quotes I put on them. So when I uploaded it, because it allows you to like put a thing, and the generic merch design, the description says, we have podcast merch at home. Your mom, probably. Under quotes, your mom, probably. Because that's what she probably said. And then I said, your mom would love this shirt. Or something like that. She would love this. And then on the other one, I said, we have generic ass podcast merch at home. Also your mom, probably.
Fun times.
But
But
I might make a "you stole our" quote meaty goodness shirt just to fucking fuck with that. But yeah, we can leave the talking WWE to fucking Wrestle Talk Now.
I mean, to be fair, we don't really talk about WWE either, so we can't leave it to Wrestling Talk Now because they mostly talk about AEW. I think as a wrestling podcast, though, it is very unfair. It is very unfair to not talk about the actual good things about a said wrestling company. So,
okay, can you talk about the good things about Impact Wrestling? Because they're a wrestling company.
No, I know. And I am not talking about the good nor the bad of Impact because I don't watch it. However, if I did, I certainly would. The fact that you're not giving Raw a chance because you assume it's all bullshit is entirely unfair as a wrestling podcast.
Wait. So, in one sentence you said, I don't watch Impact, so I'm not going to talk about it. But I think it's unfair that because you don't watch Raw, you're not talking about it.
Well, I mean, considering your podcast is called Raw and Order, and there's no WWE talk,
It's the Pissant Podcast. Raw and Order is just a name.
it's the name of the freaking podcast. It's not the Pissant.
I also don't talk about Law and Order on this podcast either.
You don't need to. The fact that you have Raw specifies that Raw is WWE. and
2/3
Raw-
of the name is from the Law and Order show.
It is
so,
indeed.
You'd think I should be talking about that too.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're giving order, you're only really giving order for AEW and GCW, but totally leaving out WWE, which might be what a lot of the listeners do want to listen to as well.
If they're listening
just
to us
saying, give it a fair
expecting us to
chance.
talk about Raw right now, they're on the wrong fucking show, and they should
I'm
know
just
it by
saying,
now.
you.
We've been shitting on Raw for the last 2 years, and I've mentioned for the last year that I want to change the name of the show because I'm so tired of the shit that Raw puts out. So
Yet you haven't.
Yet I haven't.
And there's good things.
Do you know why? Once you get so tied into a name, it's a little hard to change it, right? You got followers, you got things like this, changing everything.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm just saying it's nice to point out the good things about the said company that you always shit on. That's all.
And I'm letting you point out the good things, but so far, in
5
pointing
hours, you pointed out both the good things.
Yeah, you pointed out all 2 of them. So what I can say is that so far, this GCW is worthy of a shirt.
Its own for
Its own
GCW.
Mhm.
Best
Because it was the best pay-per-view of the year so far.
for GCW.
I think it was probably better than day one.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the best. It wasn't light years better, but it was better in my opinion.
Wow.
So for me, it was the best pay-per-view of the year so far.
Go ahead and keep that shirt out for next week because, again, Rumble hasn't been bad in a very long time.
Rumble, the Rumble is
And
usually
keep in mind,
saved.
folks, it's on Saturday.
Yeah, the Rumble is usually saved by the Rumble matches. The rest of the matches on the show can be shitty, but you've got now 2 Rumble matches that leave you going home happy. So,
Yep. I didn't say why. I'm just saying.
So
Just leave that shirt out because that will definitively at the end of next week.
Shirt's not going anywhere. So, I will go on the prediction and say that shirt will also still be out for Revolution in March, early March when it goes on.
Yeah.
So
The 6th, I believe.
Wow. Way to make an assumption, dude.
yeah, I'm going out on a limb here that it's already going to be. I'll make that prediction right now. Prediction.
It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
It's a spoiler. So,
Neither of you sounded like Heyman there. Neither of you.
neither of us did. You're right.
Nope.
I can't defend it.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. That's all.
No, it's not. It's Shelby.
It's JLB. Yeah, so I wish there were other stores in the area that stocked the AEW cards because I sure would have liked to have opened some of those tonight too, but I can't. I did finally get a Hikaru Shida action figure. It's back there, right next to Britt Baker.
Was that the one you were always trying not to get, or was that Io Shirai?
It was Riho. Io Shirai wrestles for
Oh,
WWE.
Jesus. My bad. Yeah.
NXT, right? So
My bad.
Hikaru Shida is the one that I wanted. Riho was the one
Riho, that's it. Yeah.
that was always there.
And you still never got a Rio, huh? You son of
No.
a bitch. Bastard.
I collect the action figures of wrestlers I like, and I don't collect the wrestlers that I'm not a big fan of. Notice I don't have a Hulk Hogan figure back there either.
That's valid.
So
Chair shot.
unprotected chair shots.
Chair shot.
Well, this definitely isn't a WWE show
Jesus.
now.
Imagine he freaking just randomly just knocks himself out. So we gotta go call 911. Thank you
Or I
all
hit
for
my ring
listening.
light and my camera both.
Yeah. Suddenly your whole stream goes dark. I'm like, babe, are you there?
JLB, can you close the show while I call 911 for my friend?
Yeah, because in Canada, they don't have 911.
Well, why would I call 911? He's much closer. He'll get a freaking thing. I'm gonna get in Montreal. Hi, I need you to call the
Well,
911.
while I am much closer, me calling 911 from my location would get a 911 that is not anywhere near
No.
VA Fabe.
No.
So
You have to be like, can you dispatch me to the dispatch for this area?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a smaller town about 2 hours from here. Can you patch me through their dispatch?
I'd be like, give me the police in Nebraska. Sure, which county, which city? I'm like, I don't know.
You guys have counties in Canada?
No, I said counties because I know you fuckers do.
Oh, that's impressive.
What do you have?
What do you
Parishes?
guys have? Parish or boroughs or
Boroughs, I
boroughs?
guess. No.
How many boroughs are there in Quebec?
I want to say 5, technically.
5 boroughs in all of Quebec.
I mean,
There
there's
are
a lot of outskirts.
93 counties in Nebraska. And
93.
Nebraska as a
Oh,
state has 2
I
million
mean-
people. 1 million of them, or 1 million of them live in 2 of those counties.
Yeah.
And
That's fair.
1.3 million of them live in 3 of those counties. So the other 90 counties get to divide up 700,000
700,000 people. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There are counties
no.
in Nebraska that have very, very, very few people in them.
504, I think, is the smallest right now.
In an entire county.
Jesus.
Not 504,000. 504 people.
4 people.
Meaning at least 1% of the county is employed in a government elected position.
Dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 I think is more Maine where the majority of us live.
Oh,
And then you have the
the northern boroughs.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, they call it a different. Oh, that's Quebec City though. Hold on, that doesn't work because
Yeah,
Quebec City.
those fuckers don't count. They're in the really French area.
Yeah, that. Oh shit. So there's there's just 19 boroughs in Montreal technically.
Oh,
So yeah, we have a shit ton because Quebec is freaking huge. We're like,
yeah. That's why I was like, 5? Are you fucking kidding me?
yeah. No. That's it. I clearly don't get out of my my little hibernation hole here. Yeah, no. So we certainly have a lot. Smarks, did you end up Googling it? Because my Google is not working here.
I Googled Arthur County, Nebraska has 434 people
434. Okay.
in the
That's the
2020.
smallest right now. That is
Yep.
the smallest right now.
Yep, that's
It didn't used to be the smallest.
wait a second here. Wait a second here. There's got to be 2 because according to Wikipedia
They're number
it is the
91.
third least populous county.
Oh,
So
maybe,
there's 2
maybe the county that Mullen
Would
is in is
districts
still the smallest.
count as counties for you guys?
No.
No.
No,
Districts are
something
different
else?
than counties, yes.
Okay. Because we apparently have 78 electoral districts.
McPherson County
represented.
has 399 residents.
What's the county seat?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to. Here's sort this by population.
Yeah, McPherson, Blaine, Arthur. Ugh. Tiny towns.
McPherson County. Where's the information about this fucking thing?
They had to have something for a county seat. Where did they put the courthouse?
Well, yeah, I'm sure they do. It's just this website is okay. Here we go. County seat is Tryon. Been to Tryon. I don't think there's a clothing store there, so you can't try anything on there.
Those are up in the Sandhills, where apparently they couldn't get along well enough to make a bigger county.
Tryon, population 92.
Half of which are employed by the county. And that 92 people.
It's decreased by 150, decreased by 41% because it had 157 in the 2010 census. So it dropped by almost half.
People dying. They will merge counties soon. Anyway, I just was curious what you guys had.
Here's a fun demographic fact about it. The racial
100% white
composition of Tryon is 100% white. Not a single other ethnicity in that.
It's because they don't want to live there.
Town? God, it feels weird even calling that a town. Village?
No.
I mean, it's incorporated, so it's
village.
a town, but...
There's probably more people than that at the truck stop 4 miles from my house right now.
There's a 65% rate of home ownership, which really surprised me, because if there's only 97 people in the town...
People are fucking renting there.
There are people who are renting.
There are 33 people that are renting. Well, no, that's probably counting the kids.
Yeah, true, but it's still... average home size is 1.5 people, so it's not a lot of kids there.
Jeez, oh Pete.
$61 total households.
And only 65% of the 61 are
homeowners.
Or
homeowners. Damn.
Which means there's about...
There's somebody gouging the rest of those motherfuckers, keeping them there.
Yeah.
You ain't moving. You're going to pay $600 a month for this shitty little house.
I can't afford to move to another town. I'm locked into a 8-year contract.
Now, on that side note, they are only about 30 minutes away from a town of 10,000 people, so
Yeah.
they can do stuff. Whereas
anyway.
in Arthur, you are an hour from anything.
Yes.
And then
My father was one of those people who could name every county by their number.
Ah.
And that was a skill that I never was able to get. But my dad...
Those are no longer accurate.
My dad could just be like, boom, 14 County, Adams County. No, 65 County, Box Butte County. 72 County, that's Chase County. He could throw out names like Nance County. Like Nance County. Do you know who that's named after?
Nancy Bush?
Nope.
Nancy Reagan, sorry.
Nope, also not. Right. It is named after 4th governor of Nebraska, Albinus Nance.
I was talking with you, dude. I didn't think it was actually Nancy Reagan. Jeez.
Yes. Albinus Nance. Albinus. We had a governor named Albinus.
This is the 4th one.
He was the 4th one, yep. It's also 58 County.
So no one cares about Nebraska. Can we talk about wrestling?
I think we're ready to close the podcast.
Yeah, we're ready to close the podcast. I mean, you were the one who wanted to talk WWE, something no one else cares about, so I figured we're just open for shit.
So go for Nebraska. Okay, let's go. So we're closing?
Sure.
That's what we're doing?
We'll close up now. That's fine. We already talked about shit no one cares about, so thank you all.
At least 50% of our listeners are still listening right now, and so good sign that our live listeners, 50% of our live listeners are still listening. So 50% of them want to listen to this stuff about Nebraska.
Yeah. So fuck
Smarks, is your
Canadian.
mom still on here? Is that what's going on?
Oh no, we're way past her bedtime.
She asleep.
She our new Twitch viewer.
Yeah. He was like, oh, chilling on Twitch. I was watching them streamers playing GTA and figured I'd give you a shot. My mom loves watching people mow down hookers.
What the fuck just happened?
Nothing like a hooker mow down. Yeehaw! Not that anyone goes yeehaw anymore, but you know.
Well, if they're mowing down hookers, they do.
What other way do you express your excitement?
In
Of mowing
Nance
down
County,
hookers.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Also the place my ex-wife lives. So, we know there's at least one hooker to mow down there.
Now, Polk County,
shit.
Nebraska. Polk County, Nebraska was named after a president.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a hooker.
Taft.
Yeah. I cannot say whether James K. Polk was a hooker, but he was the 11th president.
Oh, snap. Nice.
And he only ran for one term. He chose not to run for re-election.
Since we're talking about useless shit, fun little fact.
In
Montreal, Quebec, Canada, McGill University actually withholds the majority of the what's the word I'm looking for? But the lineage of Abraham Lincoln. Holds a lot of his books, and they have like a whole library with a lot of his stuff.
A library.
Library.
Shut up.
Library with a lot of his stuff.
Let me ask you, is it a pretty big library?
It is a pretty big library, actually. But no, I just thought that was interesting how a Canadian and Quebec University has a good chunk of Abraham Lincoln history.
Well, they got to grab the glory where they can. And on that note, we are going to close the book on the wrestling booking unit. If you joined us for the live show, thank you for joining us. We are live streaming now on Twitch. So every Sunday night and Tuesday night on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, you can catch the show. If you want to watch it on the replay, YouTube or Facebook are the better way to do that because Twitch eventually deletes them and, whatever. But yeah, join us on one of those. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitch if you're a Twitch watcher. That would be great there. You can also follow us on all the social medias. You can follow me at Raw and Order WBU, just like you see right down there. Right. Link is going to be in the doobly-doo for that. Link to pretty much everything is going to be in the doobly-doo, so you can do that. You can follow D.A. Fabe at...
Sorry, hold on. D.A. Vincent K. Fabe. That's it. That's the whole thing.
And you can follow...
You can piss at podcast.
Yep.
Sure.
Hey, look at that. Nice.
You can follow JLB at...
You can follow me at JLB420. Real Talk Radio, though, is the brand at Real Talk Radio 8. Anchor.fm, though, /RTR is where you can find all the links. I think I have a link tree up now, but either way, all the links will be down in the doobly-doos where we talk a little bit about everything, video games, movies, all that fun kind of stuff. And yeah, that's it. Back to you guys.
But yeah, so on that note, like I said, we've got the merch store, so you can head to the merch store. Links in the doobly-doo, but it's rawandorderwbu.myspreadshop.com. You can get shirts like the Pissant Podcast shirt, or the Sasha Bear shirt, or the Autograph shirt, or the best or worst pay-per-view of the year shirt. So you can support or talk smack about a pay-per-view, or the generic ass podcast merch shirt. Or, soon, meaty podcasty goodness shirt. Yeah, the JLB is a horse shirt. You can get that too. So you can check that out. It's also on the Facebook, but easiest to just go to my spread shop.
I think I might need to get another link is in the doobly-doo shirt. I think I've misplaced that.
Yeah. I think we need to, if you get a JLB as a horse shirt, go ahead and draw sunglasses on it. Because he's going to do that.
There you go.
It's his picture's kind of sunglassy looking in it.
Is
I mean,
it?
just the nature of turning it into the picture for it makes them.
Jesus,
Yeah, I guess
There you
they're
go.
pretty clear looking. Just because of your prescription, they kind of look googly eyed.
See,
Anyway.
all you got to do is just draw.
Oh wait, that's the Vignette shirt. I don't know.
That's the big net shirt.
No,
Did I put
JLB Zahor doesn't have
Yeah,
anything. You just have
JLB
lettering.
Zahor doesn't have a picture on it. Never mind.
You can just have shades down at the bottom.
Yep. Put shades. Anyways,
Big
but that
nets are
link is
so
all
bright.
in the doobly-doo, so you can check that out all there. But make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Give us 5 stars on whatever platform you use. 5. And we will be back in a couple days with our Fantasy Booking Institute. Thank you all for listening. We will see you soon.
Bye.